This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Hey folks, Harbinger's creator Gabriel Urbina here, and I'm about to tell you about a new show that you should be listening to. So, given the amount of high drama and enemies to lovers energy, and just all the big, twisty monologues where characters talk their hearts out that I've put into the Harbingers, you're probably not going to be too surprised to discover that I'm a big fan of William Shakespeare. I love Big Bill's plays, and I love seeing how new actors tackle them, how they discover new ways to take these timely texts and make them timeless for their modern performances. Which is why I was so thrilled when I found out that some of my close audio friends have started Pod's the Thing. What's Pod's the Thing? It's a Shakespeare podcast by actors, for actors, and also for everyone else. It was created by Wolf 359's Emma Sherjarko and Wooden Overcoat's Felix Trench, and each episode gives you a little glimpse behind the curtain into the process of working on a little bit of Shakespeare's text, one scene at a time. They talk through the language, through the historical context, and above all else, through their own experiences with the play, and then put all of that together to make a bit of Shakespeare come to life before your very ears. It's fast, it's funny, it's going to teach you a ton, even if you've already spent a lot of time thinking about Shakespeare. But it's also just really breezy and approachable. I've heard about a half dozen of their episodes now, and I keep having this thought that this would be such a great way for a new person to discover the Bard's work, and the 1,001 reasons there are to fall in love with it. So, wherever you are, whether you are looking for a way to get started on your Shakespeare journey, or if you're a grizzled veteran looking for something that's going to scratch that slings and arrows itch, yeah, you know who you are. You'll find exactly what you're looking for with Pod's the Thing. Learn more about Pod's the Thing at podsthething.com, or look for new episodes every other week on Wednesdays, wherever quality podcasts are sold.
Okay, I've got one.
Great.
Well, got is a strong word.
Uh-huh.
So's one, actually.
Well, now I'm very excited to hear this joke.
Why did Holden Caulfield hate the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk?
For all the reasons any human might. Constantly talking about eating people is a real buzzkill.
Because that giant was a fee-fi phony. That's it. That's the joke.
And here's the show.
Someone on the radio said something about the sun going out forever in a month or so. But we all knew the end was near, nothing to be done from here. So I shake my head and off to bed I go.
Hello, and welcome to an enormously entertaining episode of World Gone Wrong.
Setting the bar high. I like it. This is the show where I, Malik, discuss the increasingly extra events of the day, joined by my bestie from out westy, Jamie.
Hello. What's new in Chicago, Malik?
Well, we still don't have a bean.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone asked Anish Kapoor when he would be sculpting a replacement, and he said, I have absolutely zero interest in seeing what horrors might emerge from a second Cloud Gate.
He's still sticking with Cloudgate over Bean, huh?
I think if anything, we've seen how that bright silver globule was definitely a gate for something. Speaking of which, transition.
Because people did write in, which is fair.
Whatever hatched from the sculpture was last seen flying over Lake Michigan, away from Chicago. So all's well that ends... I was going to say well, but let's be honest with ourselves. All's well that ends ominously on brand.
You know... There's a chance, however slim, that the flying monster that crawled out of the bean will be taken down by the Lake Michigan kaiju.
Right, or they'll take each other down. People over here are making bets on the gambling apps. It's a whole thing.
We have no proof that the bean bug can even swim.
True enough. So, on the docket for today, I made a comment about giants a few episodes back, and Jamie said, let's put a pin in this. So here we are, pulling that pin out. Zoom in on Pin.
Right, giants.
You asked me to look into pre-existing giant lore.
I did. Let's start there.
Giant lore, giant stories from the days of yore.
Wow. Okay, I love it.
Thank you. Giants of some form appear in stories from the Aztecs, the ancient Greeks, the Old Norse, the writers of the Bible, and many more. I could list them all, but that would be the episode. Basically, a whole lot of cultures have stopped to ask at some point, what if a guy was really big?
A fair question.
In some cases, these stories spring up from the land itself. Depending on where you are, plenty of stuff looks like it could have been shaped deliberately by an enormous hand.
Like the Grand Canyon being where Paul Bunyan let his axe drag across the ground.
Exactly. Hey, Jamie, can I break your heart a little?
Shit, did Paul Bunyan do something to get himself canceled?
A lot of the Paul Bunyan mythos actually came from a pamphlet for a logging company.
Paul Bunyan is an ad? An ad for deforestation?
Loggers really did used to tell Paul Bunyan stories. That part happened organically. But yeah, he mostly spread as advertising. The blue ox named Babe, logging pamphlet. The idea that he was taller than the treetops, logging pamphlet.
That's it. I'm canceling Paul Bunyan.
Before we end this tangent, here's the best Paul Bunyan fact I learned. Apparently, at least some Ojibwe people folded him into their own legends.
They did?
So they have this trickster god named Nanabojo, and apparently there's an Ojibwe story where Paul Bunyan comes to chop down the forest of Minnesota. Nanabojo fought him for 3 days, trying to defend the woods, and eventually Nanabojo won by slapping Paul Bunyan with a giant fish and knocking him into the mud. And so they say that's how the Ojibwe kept the forests of North Minnesota. And Red Lake, which has 2 roughly oval-shaped lakes next to each other, is said to be Paul Bunyan's giant ass print. Paul is caked up.
That is magnificent.
And also very funny.
I love that. Get him.
It was a walleye, by the way, the fish. Where were we?
Giants changing the environment.
Yes, giants as a way to explain the landscape. Say you come across earthen mounds built by a previous civilization. Who built this? Giants, naturally. That kind of storied tradition happened pretty often in Europe. Or what if 1,000 years ago you're digging and you come across huge bones? Or, okay, they're fossils, but you don't know that. Like bone-shaped items clearly belonging to something bigger than any creature you've ever seen.
Oh my God, dinosaurs.
And other extinct megafauna, yeah.
Even if it wasn't a complete skeleton, especially if it wasn't a complete skeleton, you unearth a fossil of an enormous femur. What else are you supposed to think?
And even if there's enough for you to realize you're looking at the remains of something that walked on 4 legs, I mean, that still suggests to you that there was a time a long time ago when creatures were bigger. It's not a huge jump to say maybe everything was bigger.
Sure.
Now, every group with stories about giants tells it a little differently, of course.
Of course.
Sometimes they're brutal and monstrous. Sometimes they're stupid and easy to trick. Very occasionally, they're friendly. Usually not. Which seems like it could be some unfortunate foreshadowing. But sometimes the, main giant is someone to fear and hate, but it's okay for the hero to marry his daughter.
Huh. Okay, that raises some questions.
The giant as the ultimate foreigner, right? The giant as the cultural other, defeat him and marry the female offspring?
I was more going to say if you're not a giant but your wife is, how does that work?
Like logically?
Spatially, if you know what I mean.
Also a valid question. Which, okay, speaking of valid questions, giants are real now. I was a little surprised I hadn't heard of this one. You'd think they'd be hard to miss.
Okay, so the thing about that is nobody has actually seen one.
Nobody has... Jamie, sweet Jamie, what are we doing here?
Nobody has seen one, but that doesn't mean we don't have proof.
Did they leave a strongly worded letter somewhere?
The thing about the giants is that if they exist, it seems like they exist in Wyoming.
Not seeing the problem yet.
Well, Wyoming is really big and pretty empty. I looked this up just before we started. Wyoming is the 10th largest state if you're going by size, but its population is teeny tiny.
All of Wyoming has fewer people than just Chicago alone, right?
Do you want to guess how many more people live in just Chicago than in all of Wyoming?
Do I? Will this be a fun game? Chicago proper has about 3 million people, I think. So if Wyoming has, say, 1.5 million, then that would be another 1.5 million?
In fact, Chicago has over 2 million more people than every single person in Wyoming, which is the least populated state in the union at a little under 600,000.
And yet they get 2 senators and the fucking electoral college.
Oh, it's completely fucked, to be sure. My point here is Wyoming is sparse.
Meaning if there are giants, there aren't a lot of potential witnesses.
Exactly. Now, there are 2 national parks in Wyoming, the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone. So there's some traffic in there, of course, but large stretches of the state just don't have people.
Tangent alert, but do we know why? It's beautiful out there, right?
It is. But, well, it's partly because the environment isn't that welcoming to us. There's a lot of mountains, a lot of federally protected wilderness, and extremely harsh winters. It's also partly because the current economy is mostly based on extracting value from the earth, mining, farming, coal, and natural gas. And for the average person, it's hard to make a living that way. And lastly, there aren't, population centers to cluster around.
So it's sparse because it's sparse?
They don't really have the infrastructure for anything else. The roads, the utilities, access to education or healthcare, you name it.
They don't have infrastructure, but they might have giants?
Yeah. So last March, a wildlife photographer found what looked like a footprint in a patch of snow, specifically a foot that was about 36 inches long. I almost said 3 feet long. A foot that was 3 feet. The imperial measuring system is confusing.
I mean, it definitely wasn't designed for this. Just 1 footprint, though?
It was March. There wasn't enough snow to capture more.
Okay, but that's all we've got? I mean, the Bigfoot hunters had more pre and fucking.
That's not all we've got anymore. A few weeks later, a family taking a pit stop on their way to Yellowstone spotted another footprint, also roughly 36 inches in length. They seem to have thought it was a prank or something. They were the first to post their photo to social media, but they didn't follow up on it. And in fact, it might have been a prank with weird timing because the imprint is kind of suspiciously clean.
So we've got 2 footprints, at least one, which might not be real.
Then, in late April of last year, a cattle rancher found a series of giant tracks in the mud. This particular cattle rancher, Carl Gregory, happened to own a drone for checking on his cows.
Do people do that?
Apparently, yes.
This is at odds with my image of a cowboy. Out there on a rugged plain, just you and your remote control flying camera.
If it helps, cattle ranchers are definitely not cowboys.
Oh.
Cowboys and cowgirls. Wait, what's the gender neutral? Cowpokes. Cowpokes! They might work on ranches. They don't own the ranch.
Got it.
And so with said drone, for the first time, we got footage of a series of tracks. Same deal, enormous footprints. His kid had TikTok and posted the video there, which is when this all blew up.
When you say blew up.
Okay. It was a very small, very quiet kind of explosion. Like, if this was the only thing going on, we'd all be freaking out. But in the current moment, there's so much noise all the time. I think it's safe to say this one hasn't been making headlines.
So now there's quite a few footprints.
Better than that, with a series of prints clustered together, we can learn a lot more. So this eventually wound up on the radar of the Natural History Museum of Wyoming, and they had their experts examine stills from the clip. The stride length and the pattern of imprints are consistent with a humanoid who would be about, wait for this, 20 feet tall.
That's very tall.
Yes.
That's like 2 chonkies stacked vertically on top of each other.
Also, and I don't love this, the scientists suggested that if the tracks were left by a human-shaped person, they were walking at a casual pace, not darting around all furtive like a Bigfoot, just out there in the open.
Well, not totally out in the open, or we'd have a glimpse of them by now.
Surely, right?
Any cows missing? From the ranch, I mean?
Oh, funny you should mention that. Yes. 6 of them. Carl Gregory had livestock insurance, which covered inclement weather and theft. The thing is, he can't get them to pay out because the insurance company argues he can't prove it was theft.
What's the company saying it was?
Wolves?
That left giant heel-toe footprints? Giant bear humanoid-looking footprints?
So now he's in a legal battle over whether or not giants are real, and if they are real, whether they count as a natural disaster.
Wow, okay, bad day to be a rancher, I guess.
Oh, Carl Gregory has very deep pockets. Deep enough to fund an expedition into the Rockies to search for more signs of giants.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about just what the expedition found after this commercial break.
Fee, fi, fo, Q, commercial break. World Gone Wrong is brought to you by Shaker and Spoon Cocktail Club. You can improve your at-home mixology skills with a subscription box from Shaker and Spoon. Each month, they send you everything you need, except the alcohol, for 12 drinks for 3 different recipes. And I promise you, it is a really great way to polish off a whole bottle with a group of friends. Explore new flavors, learn something new, and just have a great time. Go to shakerandspoon.com/WGW for $20 off your subscription. That is shakerandspoon.com/WGW, and you will get $20 off your subscription. And we're back after a characteristically cruel point of suspense.
That's showbiz, baby.
Wow, it's like I've gone whooshing back in time. So you were about to tell us what became of First Name?
Carl Gregory, yes.
And his giant hunting expedition.
Right. Okay, so there's a pretty good write-up about it in Vanity Fair. So Carl assembled his team.
Jamie, who do you bring when you go looking for giants?
Great question. Carl Gregory hired hunters, specifically grizzly bear hunters.
Is that legal?
In some places. Mostly, I wrote this down somewhere, Alaska and northern Canada.
Is it smart?
Oh, I don't think so.
Right.
Okay, so when I was a kid, my dad was really into learning about the Lewis and Clark expedition. And he told me once the first time they saw a grizzly bear, it was at a distance and they were used to the black bears of the East Coast.
Right. East Coast liberal elite bears eating lobster.
Okay, I will say this about black bears. They can fuck you up, especially if they're defending their young, but they're not the most dangerous bear out there. They prefer to avoid people and you can generally survive a black bear attack. I mean, don't mess with bears in general.
Words to live by.
But you will probably live. So the Lewis and Clark expedition, it's like 1800-something, and they're out there with their early 1800-something guns and their purely East Coast understanding of what a bear is. And one of them gets the bright idea to shoot it. Like, ooh, problem solved. But this is a grizzly. So, of course, all they've managed to do is make this bear angry, and it keeps running at them. And as it's getting closer, it's getting bigger, and they're shooting at it, and it's still running at them. Nightmare fuel.
Oh my God, what happened?
I think they shot it enough times that eventually it died. But my point is, I think Carl Gregory's expedition it's the same principle.
Charging into a situation gun first isn't smart if you don't know how effective your gun is.
Yes, exactly. So I'm sure that people who hunt grizzlies in this day and age pride themselves on being very tough. But a being that's 20 feet tall, that's a couple of orders of magnitude harder. I feel like you'd basically need the army. And not just like a few soldiers. You'd need a whole unit to take one down if it came to that.
So that's the group, Carl Gregory and some grizzly hunters from the north?
Oh, Carl Gregory funded it. He did not go.
Classic.
The grizzly hunters set out in early May, maybe 5 miles from the ranch at the foothills of the mountains. They found the ashes of an enormous campfire and what definitely seemed to be the remnants of several cows, kind of like they'd been roasted over coals and gnawed on.
Several?
Correct.
But not the 6 that had been missing.
It was hard to tell, but it looked to be maybe half the cows. Not to mention, okay, parts of Wyoming are very flat. On a clear day, the smoke from the fire should have been extremely visible.
But it wasn't?
It was not, no.
I'm not sure what that means, but I'm not a fan.
So the expedition kept going. They found footprints that seemed to lead into the mountains, so they followed those.
You know what I'm just now remembering? I kind of hate the story of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Oh?
Jack goes to where the giant lives and steals his stuff. Jack is a home invader. I know we're supposed to root for him because he's human and the giant eats people, but...
No, for sure.
Just don't go into a giant's house. It is so easy to avoid. Look, I'm doing it right now.
And you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. So they tracked the giant into the mountains.
And then they got lost. And then they started fighting.
How lost? There's I Need to Double Back on Halstead, and then there's Was Never Seen Again.
Okay, so spoiler... They were in an area with no cell service and no Wi-Fi.
Meaning we'd only know that they'd argued if at least some of them made it back.
I mean, I guess if the fight got out of hand and law enforcement found signs of violence later, we could piece it together. But they were deep enough in the wilderness, law enforcement wasn't touching this. So 2 of them headed back to the flatland, and 3 of them kept going.
Splitting up. Something you're not supposed to do.
Splitting the party is bad, as true in TTRPGs as it is in dangerous mountain giant hikes.
So when I said some of them made it...
You were holding the dodgeball of prophecy square in your hands.
Was it the ones that gave up who survived?
It was...
And the 3 that kept up the search?
Have still never been found.
Oh my God.
And let's be clear, these were human beings, and that is a tragedy, no matter the circumstances. They had families and friends and favorite songs.
Of course.
It feels like an outlandish way to die, but if I was a grizzly bear hunter dispatched to find a millionaire cattleman's mystery nemesis, would I do better? I don't know.
Under the circumstances, it feels a little ghoulish to ask, but do we know what happened to them?
That they disappeared isn't a guarantee anything supernatural happened. Hiking out west, particularly away from trails, can be incredibly dangerous. All kinds of things could have happened to them. But also...
What I'm stuck on is how did these experienced hunters lose track of where they were?
That's what I'm getting to. Mm-hmm. The survivors claimed the footprints were misleading.
What does that mean?
They were initially using the prints as landmarks to navigate, but after a while, they realized it was worse than useless. The footprints appeared to go in circles, or loops, or start and then stop in weird places. Sometimes, they claim, prints they definitely noticed before had disappeared less than an hour later with no wind or snow.
Okay, so in the mountains, meaning this probably couldn't have been locals messing with them.
That feels like one of the few safe bets we can make, yeah.
Do you have any theories?
It is going to sound so silly.
A little silly would be great right now.
I think what Wyoming might actually have is invisible giants.
Interesting.
Deranged, you mean?
No. That would explain not seeing them for miles around in flat terrain. It could explain not spotting smoke from the fire. They could have easily brushed over their tracks undetected.
You really think it's not?
Oh, I think it's nuts. But when the situation is this out of hand, sometimes you have to get a little nutty.
The survivors say they never caught a glimpse of any being that could have made those tracks.
They're giants. I mean, who knows what kind of magic they do or don't have.
Thank you for not writing off my theory.
If you think it's invisible giants, I am at least willing to entertain the notion of invisible giants. In some stories, giants are literal gods. If legends say they can reshape the landscape, who says they can't do it in privacy?
Speaking of things that cannot be directly observed, how goes the mental health quest?
I don't want to speak too soon, but I might have found someone.
That's awesome!
She was one of the last names on my list, so the suspense had really been building. She's a little young, like maybe a year or 2 out of school, and we've only had 1 session so far, and it was just like, tell me everything that ever shaped you as a person.
Well, that's part of the process.
But she gets my jokes. She gets some of my references. That shouldn't matter so much, but...
No, I mean, humor is a form of communication. You want someone who can understand what you're putting down.
Also, she's already gently suggested I reframe a few things, which is good, I think. If I just wanted to talk to someone who would shower me in unconditional love, I'd call my grandma more than I already do. But yeah, she totally acknowledged that it's impossible to have a sane response when the world is on fire, which I appreciate. She even listens to podcasts. Not this show. I don't think I could handle that.
Malik, I'm so happy for you. And I hope this doesn't sound patronizing. I'm proud of you.
I might wait until I've had a few more sessions to break out the party hats, but...
It's so key. Finding a therapist who actually works for you and not settling for someone because they're convenient.
Right. And now all I have to do is unpack everything. All the stuff in my head.
Which is why we celebrate this part of the journey.
Okay, so I gave my update. What about you? Tell us about the school board elections.
We've hit a bump in the campaign.
More than a bump. Listeners, we were chatting during the break and tell them what did.
And again, we're not talking about Steve.
Yeah, that's not the Steve's real name bleep. It's a much, much worse bleep.
My opponent in the school board race has added an entire page to her website just asking questions about me.
So shitty.
I don't love it. Mentioning me by name, by the way, the navigation bar, it's like, about me, donate here, and just who is Jamie?
Can you give the listeners a sample of the noxious garbage you're dealing with?
Do we really want to leave our children's education in the hands of a childless podcaster.
I'm surprised she didn't put podcaster in a scary font.
Do we trust Jamie's radical agenda with no experience in alternative lifestyle and a job working for literal space aliens? Just what does she want to teach your child?
Okay, that is maddening.
Yeah, it really is. I've been going door to door. I've been talking to people about what they actually want the school board to do. The work genuinely feels exciting to me. I know I'd be good at it. I know I would. I need to prove her wrong. But now I don't know what to do.
Oh, you respond.
Are you sure? Don't you think it cheapens the race to stoop down to her level?
No, I genuinely don't. If you had way more name recognition and reach than her, I'd say ignore her. You don't want to give her free publicity, but in this case, she's got a huge head start on you. People are still finding out who you are, and that means you need to show them. At the very least, I'd say you should add a page on your website.
Can I call it Just Who Is Jamie? Is that too petty?
I'd say it's perfectly petty.
As a graduate of the local elementary school, middle school, and high school, I love this town, and I am uniquely suited to give feedback.
Constructive and meaningful feedback. Get some adjectives in there, just a suggestion.
Oh, that's great.
You realize this can't be the only thing you do, right? The people won't know to check your website. They'll only see your message if you put it out there. Hey, you know what we should do? We should record a TikTok.
That makes sense, but I don't know. Hey, should we maybe do this off air?
Let's. Final thoughts about Giants?
Loss of life is always a tragedy, but that doesn't mean we can't learn anything from it. Don't go looking for trouble unless you're prepared to deal with whatever trouble has to offer.
Accept it when a giant eats your metaphorical cows and move on?
If you've got hire a mountaintop expedition money lying around, I think you can afford to. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I buy it.
Look after yourself. Don't split the party. And maybe don't lead with violence, but also do your job to take care of each other. This has been World Gone Wrong.
I'm Malik.
And I'm Jamie. We know things are getting weirder every day, but we hope you're baseline, and we wish you a better tomorrow.
And even when it's ashes, there'll be part of me that wishes we could stay.
Jamie and Malik are played by Hilary Williams and Michael Turrentine.
This episode was written by Jessica Best.
Directed and edited by Jeffrey Nils Gardner.
Our show art is by Carly Fairbanks.
And our bangin' theme song is Falling in Love at the End of the World by Olivia and the Lovers.
World Gone Wrong is produced and created by Jeffrey Nils Gardner and Eleanor Hyde.
This is a production of Audacious Machine Creative.
The Fable and Folly Network, where fiction producers flourish.